Welcome to On the Open. We're going to take a look at all the European action that has occurred so far in the major country indices. And before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit more about how does this actual allocation fit into your portfolio. So taking a look at just some model portfolios that we had put together. Let's say, for example, you're extremely conservative, you want capital preservation. Well, you're actually going to have in a well-diversified account not only exposure to areas like the treasuries, as you see behind me, but you also have general market exposure and you'll have exposure to international assets. EFA is an ETF that tracks the European as well as Australian and Far East country indices and stocks. It comprises of a very conservative portfolio, 5%. Okay? So that just gives you a little context here. And as a matter of fact, if you want to see something that's a little more aggressive, let's say that you are young, you're aggressive, you're looking for a model portfolio that fits with your aggressive risk tolerance because of how it works out with what your objectives are, where you are in life, and the goals you want to meet. Well, if you click here, you're going to see that if you have a well-diversified and structured account, that, as a matter of fact, you will have exposure to about 20% of world market stocks ETFs. Okay, folks? So that's why we talk about what's happening in Europe. That's why we discuss the stocks that are trading in Germany and France and in England and Italy and Spain, because that impacts your portfolio, especially if you do have a well-diversified portfolio. Now let's jump in and take a look at the markets. As a matter of fact, we're looking at the German markets right now. Mixed action in Europe in general, but Germany right now is down about 0.1%. And if you actually take a look at EWG, trading at 2786, that's the ETF that tracks all of these German stocks, and the DAX, which is the main market in Germany. You have Allianz down today, Bayer down today, as well as BP. You do have Royal Dutch up, SAP is up, as well as Siemens. So you have a mixed market right now. These are the large cap names that make up about 30%. These names alone make up 30% of this ETF EWG. Now, taking a look at EWG from a technical perspective, we'll jump into the real-time charts here at MarketStream. A couple things I want to point out here. These green bars, green and red bars, that is the actual ETF EWG. You could see it's been trending up nicely ever since touching and testing that 20-day moving average. And so the bulls have taken control over the last 3 sessions. This gold line is actually the DAX. This is the index that, like the S&P 500 here in the United States or the Dow Jones, you could see that this tracks this German ETF. And as a matter of fact, you saw a test of the 20-day and a pop back up. This 20-50-day area is the area that I look for a retest, so that if you're not exposed to Germany, you still feel that it's that Germany specifically is bullish. This is the area that you want to start watching as far as if you're going to add a bullish type of positioning. If you start to become bearish on Germany, that's because you're starting to see the price action break the 20, the 50, and now looking to get into challenging that 200-day moving average. And so that's how we take a look at Germany this morning. Now, switching gears, we want to actually take a look at the FTSE and the UK. So taking a look at England, right now you have EWU basically finished the trading session yesterday at 32.05, almost flat, up a couple pennies. You're seeing some of the larger cap names flat to basically mixed. With Glaxo. HSBC is actually down this morning, so that has put some pressure. Home builders are moving, but again, I'm looking at the major names, the major holdings in this ETF. That's what's going to move the markets, and you see that HSBC is continuing to be under pressure down this morning on the English stock markets. If you actually take a look at, and we're going to actually bring up the ETF EWU, and that is the iShares ETF. And we're going to actually go in and we're going to compare this. It's pretty easy how to do this. You just push compare, and here's the FTSE, and there you go. And we are going to do the FTSE, and that didn't work. Okay, we'll have to look into that. But you could compare it to a major market index. Let's say that I want to put in the FTSE. You just type in FSTE. That is the symbol FTSE. FTSE. And we're not finding it right now. We'll have to take a look at that. That's because I can't type. And we will do right here. And you can see that the FTSE is represented right here in the candles. You have the bars. Maybe it'll look a little confusing, but you can see that it's hugging right around this 20-day moving average. There is a consolidation both in the EWU and the FTSE. So you're seeing the ETF is tracking the index over in London. We're at a point now of consolidation. That means that England is either going to go to the upside or downside. Wow, flip of a coin. The levels, though, that you're going to want to watch are the 20-day moving average. On EWU, you're going to watch that 3170 level. A test here and a break, that means we're going to watch this 3130 level. This area right here, again, if you're looking to add exposure to a bullish position, right here is the area that you're going to keep an eye on. If, in fact, the trend is going to shift, if you think, oh, are they now bearish? A break of the 20, the 50, and a challenge of the 200-day is going to be where I would sit back and start taking an assessment of whether or not the bullish trend is going to continue for the foreseeable future, especially as we have a retracement back to these averages. Okay, finally, we want to take a look at France and the CAC. Going into France, taking a look at what's going on here, we scroll down. You see that some financials are under pressure, BNP Paribas. You see L'Oreal under pressure. You're seeing Louis Vuitton still up, Sanofi down, as well as Total SA. Now, the CAC is actually trading up a little bit this morning. We're going to watch that very closely. EWQ is the ETF that tracks French stocks. These are the major holdings within this ETF. There's quite a few, but these are about 25% of this ETF. So based on that activity, you'll see how the ETF moves. The ETF looks like it's going to open up probably flat to slightly up this morning because of the participation of the other components to the upside. But if we take a look at the EWQ, and let's take a look at how this is looking. You can see that, and I'm actually going to get rid of the FTSE. I'm going to compare the CAC. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay. Excellent. So basically, you're seeing that EWQ has been trending nicely to the upside. And it had stalled out here this year. It's looking like it's very volatile and choppy. And as a matter of fact, you're seeing right now, it's in that range between the 20 and 50 day. It actually is right above the 20-day right now. We'll see how it opens this session. But you can see this area right here. This is the challenge area. A challenge of the 50 bounces, goes up, breaks through the 20, holds, then breaks back down. Very volatile here. And you can see these gaps. So that means that there is a lot of uncertainty, which makes sense. Remember, they are in a presidential election cycle. It is very volatile. One of the candidates just actually pulled out, threw his hat towards another one of the other candidates, but Marine Le Pen, who would be potentially negative towards French stocks if, in fact, she gets into office. She, in the beginning of this presidential election, didn't have much of a chance. Well, you could see her chances grew. The market reacted. We're going to watch these headlines very closely, especially in the French election. But right now, you have some potential volatility here in France, and you see some challenges of the 20 and 50 day. So those that are bullish on France, they need to be watching, because the next level of support is going to come in at the 200-day moving average right around $24. All right, folks, that is it right now for the taking a look at Europe. Join me at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time here on MarketStream.live, where I'll go over all the market action here in the U.S. See you then.